For the Air Force Association in Virginia, this is your AFA Daily Report.
Trump swears in Brown as Air Force boss in Oval Office ceremony. General Charles Q. Brown Jr. took a ceremonial oath of office August 4 in a surprise event at the White House, 2 days before he officially becomes the 22nd Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Accompanied by his family and senior Air Force and Defense Department leaders, Brown raised his right hand and took an oath administered by Vice President Michael R. Pence. President Donald J. Trump moved the short ceremony to the Oval Office at the last minute. The Senate unanimously confirmed Brown in a historic 98-0 vote in June. He will become the first African American officer to serve as Chief of Staff of one of the armed forces, after holding leadership positions in combat organizations around the globe.
Helicopter pilot training experiment skips fixed-wing courses. The Air Force is trying an experiment that would take its rotary wing pilots out of the standard undergraduate pilot training program and send them through an all-helicopter course. The goal is to trim months from training, improve pilot quality and free up fixed-wing slots in UPT to increase pilot production, the head of 19th Air Force said in an interview.
Disagreement over TATA could stymie Air Force leaders' confirmation. Democratic senators on August 4 indicated they could hold up the confirmation of Sean J. Monasco as Air Force Undersecretary as recourse for the Trump administration's decision to install a controversial official into a key Pentagon policy post without Senate approval. That standoff loomed over an August 4 confirmation hearing that vetted Monasco to be the Air Force's number 2 civilian official.
Air National Guardsmen help save lost mariners in Micronesia. A 5-member KC-135 crew composed of Air National Guardsmen from Hawaii and Pennsylvania helped track down 3 mariners who got lost in the Federated States of Micronesia on August 2, enabling their rescue a day later. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Palmerian, Major Byron Kamikawa, and Technical Sergeant Shane Williams from the Hawaii Air National Guard's 203rd Air Refueling Squadron, and Tech Sergeant Rodney Joseph and Senior Airman Jeremy Williams from the Pennsylvania Air National Guard's 171st Air Refueling Wing subsequently took off from Andersen Air Force Base Guam, in a stratotanker and determined the lost mariner's location after about 3 hours in the air, according to a 36th Wing release.
Airman on Navy Command jet test launched 3 tipped, unarmed nuclear missile. A Navy E-6B Mercury Nuclear Command plane launched a 3-tipped, unarmed Air Force nuclear missile from Vandenberg Air Force Base, California, in an unusual but long-planned exercise August 4. Sailors and airmen from Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, aboard the E-6B worked with airmen from Vandenberg who acted as the alert and operational crews on the ground for launch night. Air Force Global Strike Command does not often test missiles configured with multiple re-entry vehicles, which were phased out to comply with the New START treaty between the U.S. and Russia. The coronavirus pandemic also posed an opportunity to vet the E-6B.
USAF, DoD need COVID-19 convalescent plasma donors to help fight pandemic. The Air Force is helping the Defense Department collect COVID-19 convalescent plasma from individuals who have recovered from the disease in hopes that it can help the military treat other patients, the service announced last month. While the military is now nearly halfway to its goal of collecting 10,000 units of convalescent plasma, or the liquid part of the blood donated by people whose bodies have beaten the disease, it's still seeking potential donors to help it reach that target by September 30. Quote, "Currently, we have almost reached 50% of our goal and encourage those who are able to donate to do so to help fight this persistent enemy," Air Force Deputy Surgeon General Major General Sean L. Murphy said in an August 4 statement to Air Force magazine.
USAF, Israeli F-35s trained together. American and Israeli F-35s trained together earlier this week, in the second bilateral exercise between the two countries focusing on joint strike fighter operations. The exercise, called Enduring Lightning II, illustrates the close relationship between the air forces and military echelons and enhances the cooperation of knowledge and capabilities of the F-35 and the Israeli Air Force's operational abilities, an Israeli Defense Force statement said. Virtual events, Air Force Warfighting Integration Capability experts on Mitchell's Aerospace Nation, and more. Today, the Air Force Association's Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies will present Aerospace Nation, a conversation with AFWIC on the Global Futures Report, featuring a discussion with Lieutenant Colonel Jake Sotiriades, the Air Force Warfighting Integration Capabilities Chief of Strategic Foresight and Futures, and other members of the Global Futures Report team about how the Air Force can shape an adaptive future strategy, and more. Event video will tentatively be posted to the think tank's website and YouTube channel.
End of transmission.